Hello, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Scott Sports 101. I'm Scott Trella. We'll talk Browns NFL football, we'll talk Cavs and NBA basketball, try the Major League Baseball, and we'll talk the 2019 NCAA March Madness Tournament. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. It's an NBA basketball trivia question. Who won the NBA MVP of the year? Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50.4 points and 22.9 rebounds per game. I'll have the answer later on the broadcast. Now, almost all the buzz around the NFL this offseason has been about the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have received a ton of media attention due to the splashy acquisitions they've made during this offseason, headlined by, as you know, the trade for wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. The Pittsburgh Steelers have received pretty much negative press, whether it's about Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell leaving. It might work to the Steelers' advantage to finally be the underdogs in the division, and for the following reasons, sources say they'll win the AFC North in 2019. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'd like to see the Browns win the division, but I think we're going to make the playoffs, and I do believe that. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens. We've got 6 months till the regular season starts. Now, the Browns are already huge favorites to win the division at most sports books outlooks. They've received endless praise from the media for all the moves they've made, and it's the first time in a long time they'll enter a season with lofty expectations. Now, the team isn't used to having these kind of expectations placed on them, and the hype, a lot of sources say the hype has gotten way out of control. I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure, but, some say it has, some say it hasn't, but I'm not sure if I do. But sources say they won't under the added pressure and won't be nearly as good as people are suddenly expecting them. Now, they're going to be good this year, and I think we're going to win a lot of games and be over 500 for the first time. Now, my expectations of the Browns, I think they're going to win the season opener and the home opener, and I think they're going to be over 500, and I think they're going to make the playoffs for the very first time in a long time. Because we haven't had this, we've wanted this turnaround for a long time, since we came back to the NFL in 1999, and we've gone through, we made the playoffs in 2002, but we've gone through so many years of constant misery and constant rebuilding that I feel that the Browns are going to win, are really going to make the playoffs, and they have a good chance at the Lombardi Trophy. But we'll see what happens this upcoming season in 2019. But sources say the Browns' resurgence is a nice story, but they're now being overvalued, and sources say it'll help the Steelers to get the heat taken off. Sources say Cleveland won't be able to get over the hump this year, and the Steelers will remain the top dog in this rivalry for at least another year. Now, I'm not sure. I think Cleveland's going to beat Pittsburgh this year. I really think they are. Despite they do have a good wide receiver in Juju Schuster, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But I really feel the Steelers may not be, they may be the underdog, but they may struggle this year in certain areas. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Most of the talk about why the Steelers will regress next year centers around the Antonio Brown trade. Yes, Brown was a big loss, but Pittsburgh's receiving corps will be just fine. And Juju Smith-Schuster has emerged into one of the best receivers in the league, and the Steelers just made a sneaky good pickup with Dante Moncrief. They still have a Hall of Fame quarterback thrown to them, Ben Roethlisberger, and there's been a massive overreaction to the Browns news for the Steelers, and I can understand why they're overreacting to this. I can understand why. Now, sources say one receiver, no matter how good they are, doesn't make or break a roster of 53 players. Smith-Schuster has shown he's more than capable of carrying the load as a number one receiver, and sources expect him to continue to shine in 2019. Now, a lot of sources say that 2018 was a disastrous season for Pittsburgh, and they did lose to the 49ers and the Raiders, and they did beat us, but they had some areas that were weak, and they just did not play well. But I think they're going to have a good season. But I don't think they're going to be a top dog team, I don't think. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We've got 6 months till the season starts, and it's not too late to start talking about the draft, so we'll see what happens. And we are just about 4 weeks away from the NFL draft. And the Browns' new player they got in free agency, Sheldon Richardson, is really anxious to settle down here in Cleveland. I think it's a defensive tackle, I believe they got. Yeah. And so I think he's going to play well with the Browns too. And they made a lot of good moves in free agency. The Cavs beat the Detroit Pistons at home tonight at Quicken Loans Arena, 126-119. Colin Sexton led the way with 27 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. C.D. Osman, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Nick Straukas, 17 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. And Brandon Knight, 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists. The Cavs are down by 1 at halftime, 61-60. Then the Cavs were down by 1 again at the end of the third quarter, 88-87. And in the fourth, the Pistons had taken the lead twice, but the Cavs battled back and went on to win by the final score, 126-119. The Cavs are off tomorrow, but are back in action on Wednesday as they take on the Milwaukee Bucks at home at Quicken Loans Arena. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. on Fox Sports Ohio. And the Cavs, Larry Drew says the Cavs are building the team of the future right now, and a lot of players say that too, even though they're not going to be in the playoffs this year. But they feel a few years down the road they could be back in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. I know they're going to make some moves during the off season. We'll get back. We'll talk Tribun on the 2018 NCAA March Madness tournament in just a moment, but it is now time for the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who won the NBA MVP of the Year award? Who won the NBA MVP of the year? Wilt Chamberlain averaged 54 points and 22.9 rebounds per game. And if you said Bill Russell, you are correct. During the 1961-1962 season, Wilt Chamberlain's numbers were outwardly. He scored a total of 4,029 points, but lost the MVP race to Bill Russell, who scored 1,436 points. I will have another trivia question on my next broadcast, which will be on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. Now, the Tribe lost to the San Diego Padres 3-1 in Cactus League play at spring training at Goodyear Ballpark in Goodyear, Arizona. Trevor Bauer was on the mound for the starting as the Tribe's starting pitcher and Bauer went 5.2 innings and gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs, and striking out 9. The Tribe scored their one and only run in the ninth, thanks to Eric Stanitz. The Tribe will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in Cactus League play at Camelback Ranch Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona, at 10:05 p.m. tomorrow. First pitch on SportsTime Ohio. And the Oakland A's have emerged in interest and possible talks of either a Corey Kluber or Trevor Bauer trade, and we'll see what happens with that. But it could be it's got to be a high sky price paid for the Tribe to really for them to try to really make a deal for this, and we'll see what prevails, and I'll keep you posted. And the Tribe starts the regular season on March 28th against the Minnesota Twins. And we're all ready for Major League Baseball. The 2019 March Madness tournament is underway, and the first round gets underway tomorrow, and there's the first 4 rounds of it tomorrow, and one of the teams I know is playing is LSU will take on Yale tomorrow, and then on and that will be, I think, a 9:30 start on CBS, I believe, or I think on ESPN, I believe. Check me if I'm wrong. And but the Ohio State Buckeyes will take on the Iowa State in the first round of the tournament on Friday. Tip-off is at 9:50. BOK Center Arena in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that game will be on TBS. Now, my final thoughts for today. With the Browns, I feel the Browns are really going to – I have high expectations for the Browns this year, and I really think this is going to be a great season, and they're going to put up a lot of big numbers, and I think they're going to be over 500 for the first time and win a lot of games this year. So I really expect a lot from the Browns this year because they are really huge favorites to win the AFC division, and we'll see what happens. I'm really excited about it. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for this edition of Scott Sports 101. Always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1, I'm done.